Simply putting a reverb on an instrument is a lot of the times not enough to make it blend in well in the mix. If you want to take your reverb to the next level, you should definitely put EQ on it. So in this mixing tutorial, I'm going to talk about the importance of EQing your reverb. Let me show you how it's done. So I have a rap song that I'm working on, and I'm going to show you how I applied some EQing to a reverb that I have on this vocal. So as you can see, I've created an aux track where I have a reverb, pretty standard reverb in Logic. And I also put a EQ right here. Just a standard channel EQ. And by simply putting a high pass filter on the reverb, if we set it to around 300 Hertz, something like that, we will get rid of some unnecessary bass buildup and some rumble in the actual reverb. And by also putting a low pass filter, just set it at like 6K, we get rid of some unnecessary brightness that we don't really want in a reverb. We want the reverb to sound nice and kind of round and not too harsh and not too bassy. So by putting a high pass filter as well as a low pass filter, we can get a better tone from the reverb, and it will sound a bit more round and it will blend in better in the mix, because a lot of the brighter frequencies in the reverb tends to clash with the hi-hats, overheads, and other instruments that has a lot of brightness in them. And bass frequencies doesn't really sound good in a reverb, so that's why we've cut a lot of the bass frequencies. So this technique won't give a drastically better result, but it will definitely be something that you feel in the mix rather than you hear. Something that you feel rather than hear, right? So let me show you a before and after example right here.
Look up, my mind just deep and bread is all beating. Where is my freedom? I've told them 1,000 times, tell them again, bitch, I'm a demon. Super oddly that I.
And with EQ on the reverb.
Look up, my mind just deep and bread is all beating. Where is my freedom? I've told them 1,000 times, tell them again, bitch, I'm a demon. Super oddly that I'm lagging, bringing that back in more than it fattened. Up at the.
So let's take a listen to the actual reverb, just soloing the reverb. With the EQ on, without the EQ. With the EQ again. So it sounds a lot more clean to my ears. It sounds a bit more round, and it gives some more tone to the actual reverb by doing some high pass filtering and some low pass filtering. And if you want a more kind of lo-fi character to your vocals, you could try to actually do some more cutting on the highs and the lows to get that kind of telephone effect. It can suit pretty well if you're playing like garage rock or indie rock, stuff like that. And you can go even further by actually adding a distortion plugin or an overdrive plugin on the aux channel that you have. So in that way, it will sound slightly dirtier depending on how you adjust the drive and so forth. And it can sound pretty cool. I usually go for the bit crusher that you can find in Logic. It has a very kind of cool distortion sound to it, and it's not too obvious either. So don't just apply a reverb on your instrument and kind of tweak around with the pre-delay, the wetness, the dryness, and so forth. Continue to work with the reverb, add an EQ to shape it even further and to get rid of some unnecessary frequencies that doesn't need to be there. So this is a great step to a great sounding mix that you can apply. So don't forget to EQ the reverb. That's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming mixing tutorials. Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something from this. See you in the next video.